Stop focusing on packaging. Focus on distribution and your customers. This is how Tosin Eniolorunda built Moneypoint and his team into a billion-dollar business. This episode, you will learn the power of distribution, what you can learn from churches, elections, and apply into your business. So welcome to this. Today we're talking about Moneypoint, a great company that all of us admire in Nigeria. In fact, the last time I was in Nigeria, I used a lot of Moneypoint, and it is such an amazing product. In fact, their logo says creating financial happiness, and you see the reason why they say that in the course of this episode. Now, for context, there is no book written about Tosin yet, the co-founder of Moneypoint. So what I had to do was that I just did a lot of research about him and Moneypoint and put all of that together in my notes here and in my notes here. So that's what I'll be building my case on. All right. Tosin is a builder. He is a builder at heart. All right. So he and his co-founder Felix, they worked on the Sterling One Pay owned by Sterling Bank. And they had a contract whereby they would get 20% of the revenue of Sterling Pay. In other words, if the company makes 60 million naira, they get 20% of that. And everything was going on well. Sterling Pay is like their online payment, their app for Sterling Bank. But as human beings are, when the money began to roll in, management of the company call them and say, why should we be paying these young boys 20% of what comes in through Sterling Pay? And they didn't want to keep to the contractual agreements that they had. And in fact, they said to them that if you guys don't take the new structure that we're going to give to you, we will build our own. And that, remember, we have the customers and you guys don't. And Tosin and his co-founder say, okay, no problem. They left. Then they started their own company called Team App. And then they raised capital. They raised money from a company called Quantum Capital Partners. Now, it is interesting to note that Quantum Capital Partners is owned by Jim Ovia. Jim Ovia is the founder of Zenith Bank and the chairman of Zenith Bank. You see the connection there. So they raised $5 million, $5.5 million. Part of that money was equity and part of it was debt. So really what they had to run Team Apt was $2.5 million in their Series A. Now, because when you hear that the company raises money, venture capital give them, it's not all the money that they get. It's still part of it, all right? So they could use that $2.5 million to run the company, run ads, hire talent, and grow the business. So that is how that started. It was from that. I always tell people all the time that the obstacle is the way. If they didn't have a problem with Sterling Pay, do you know that we won't be enjoying Moneypoint or Team App today? So I don't know what you are going through right now, the challenge that you're facing in your business or your personal life. A lot of times, the obstacle that you're facing, it looks like an impediment, but really and truly, it is opening doors for you to a larger and a bigger life. Today, Moneypoint does 200 million API calls per minute. Do you know what that means? 200 million API calls per minute means API calls are requests made to Moneypoint server to retrieve and send, and that means that their technical infrastructure is very, very solid and airtight. 200 million calls per minute. Next, Moneypoint does $17 billion in TPV, total payment volume. $17 billion in TPV. That means the company processes $17 billion worth of transactions every single month. Whoa. Next, Moneypoint does 26 million payments processed every single day. They process 26 million payments every single day. Now just think about it. Nigeria has approximately 200 million people. And this company that is a $1 billion company today processes 26 million payments every single day. So you can imagine their runway. You can imagine the potential of the business. This company is going to be a $1 trillion business. It will. See where it's going. It will. From one rejection, the obstacle is the way. Let's look at their distribution philosophy and their distribution strategy. I'll start this by a quote by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is the co-founder of PayPal and the author of this book, 0 to 1. Where's my 0 to 1 here? It's somewhere around here. And I always encourage that. This is 0 to 1. This book was written by Peter Thiel, correct? So Peter Thiel wrote this book, 0 to 1. I really enjoyed reading this book a couple of years ago. Good book. Now, here's what Peter Thiel said. Peter Thiel said, superior sales and distribution by itself is a monopoly. And even even with no product differentiation, you can dominate a market if you have a superior distribution strategy. Now, Tosin said something very powerful. The CEO of Moneypoint said, distribution is everything and distribution is a form of sales. In fact, somebody observed Moneypoint and said he went to Kano and he was looking at Moneypoint agents. He said to himself, these guys can win an election. He said because their distribution depth in every local government. Moneypoint is in every local government in the rural parts of Nigeria. Everywhere, both the urban and the rural part of Nigeria. They understand distribution. And Tosin said something very powerful. He said he learned distribution from studying churches like the Redeemed Christian Church of God that have branches all over the place. That he learned distribution by studying election. You know, when a politician wants to get your vote, when it's election season, what do? They go to every part of the country. They understand distribution. Coca-Cola is a distribution success. Moneypoint is a distribution success because everywhere you go, you will see a Moneypoint payment terminals, payment stuff, because they understood the market. So the idea here for you and I is that if you want to succeed in your business, right, you must over-index on distribution. Whether you're a personal brand, whether you sell online or offline, if you create a piece of content, right, you can't leave it on only one platform. You should repurpose that content and spread it every single where. Everywhere you go, you should distribute it. In behavioral economies, they call this the availability bias. You should be available every single place that you turn to, right? Next thing is that he said, I started my life as an enterprise tech guy. I was wearing suits and I was pitching to banks. You see? He said, all members of his team, they were all techie. But he now said to himself, he said, for this company to grow, right, I have to spend more time with my product team and my sales team. Guess what? He spends 75% of his time with his product team and his sales team. Now, do the maths. Let's say, for example, he comes to work by 8 a.m. in the morning and he closes by 6 p.m. That's like 10 hours of work, right? If he's spending 75% of his time with his product and sales, that means he's spending 7 hours with his product and with his sales team. No wonder they are winning. No wonder they are successful. Think about it. 75% of the founder's time spent at especially at the beginning with the product team and the sales. What does that tell you? Number one, he's working very, very hard to ensure that they have a great product. And now you'll see why that's important very, very soon. It's ensuring that they have a great product, but not just that, but ensuring that everybody knows about how great the product is. Because no matter how great you are, if people don't know, you're still not going to make any form of money. Did you get that? That's critically important. All right. And there's something he said about speaking about the product here, speaking about the power of the product here. He said that I'm sure it is way better than that now, that on a good day, their transaction success rate is 95%. That means that if you use their POS, you insert your card, it needs to either do any form of financial transaction to collect money or to send money. He said the success rate of that is 95%. And I understand that because there are certain banks in Nigeria that I use. I don't want to mention their names. Actually, if I'm sending money through them, I am actually praying that my money does not hang. And some of you have the same story in your heart. There's a particular bank right now in Nigeria. I sent 200,000 naira through. I can't find that money anywhere. But with Moneypoint, you have a better experience, 95%. No wonder the slogan of the company is called creating financial happiness. Because you know how you feel when you take your car to that POS agent around your neighborhood, around that market. You pop your card in and you want 20,000 naira cash. You need that money to feed your family. You need that money to do something critically important. The last thing you want to hear is that thing does not work. Tosin said, I'm going to give you over 95% success rate. And this is the reason why Moneypoint is winning. Did you get that? Did you get that? So he said, I obsess massively about having a success rate in customer transaction. Now, you see, this guy understands it because he knows that, look, if I have successful customer transaction rate and I distribute this product very, very well with sales and marketing, it's a no-brainer. I will be successful. Now, speaking about the power of sales, if you would like to take your sales to the next level, I am a sales consultant and a sales coach to some of the biggest banks and real estate companies and small businesses in Africa. I'm doing a 5-day Make Sales Challenge. It's my signature program. Over 1,000 people have gone through that course. Click on the link on the show notes and read the details to see if this is for you. You will learn exactly how to get clients, how to increase their conversion rate, how to use AI to sell, and how to use content to make sales and make money. I make money on the internet literally every single day through the power of my content. So click on the link on the show notes and join that class. Let's continue with the lessons that I'm learning from Tosin, CEO of Moneypoint. Let's look at on team and culture. The guy is very wise. Take it from him. He has what he calls a 3M framework for managing people and getting the best out of people. You know that he can't do it on his own. So the strength of his team is the strength of his business. Here's what he said. He calls it a 3M. The first is meaning. He said everyone in the company must find purpose in their work. He said they should understand why what they are doing matters. That is meaning. So if you work in Moneypoint, for example, and you move around the rural part of Nigeria, you move around neighborhoods, the underserved neighborhoods, the unbanked neighborhoods, the market areas, and you see people making financial transactions with your blue POS terminal, you know it will give you a lot of joy, knowing that what you do matters, it counts. And I think one of the ways to activate meaning for your staff is you must continually tell the story of your business. So you see, they say when the why is strong enough, people can deal with anyhow. I mean, it wasn't always a smooth journey for Tosin. At some point, he couldn't even pay his staff salary. He had to borrow money from his wife to pay his staff salary. There are some dark days in entrepreneurship, right? He said the second M is mastery. He said give people a space to grow. He said challenge them to become the best that they can be. So send your team for sales trainings. Send your team for technical trainings. You got expand their horizon. When people feel that they are growing, they may want to stay with you. So that is on the theme of mastery. All right, make them master their craft. Buy them a book to read. Recommend this podcast or this YouTube channel for them to watch. He said, and the last N is money. He said, reward people fairly for the value they create. Let people know that this work I'm doing, there is a monetary dimension to it. After you're giving them meaning, after you're giving them mastery, the man must eat now. He's got to eat, so you must help them make money. There's something that Tosin said that was very powerful in researching him. He said he used to work in InterSwitch. He said that if the company was working for before, they had given him meaning, all these three things, he said he doesn't think he would have left to start Moneypoint. I thought that was deep. If you don't treat your staff well, you will create a competitor for you. Let's look at his metric, the metrics that he focuses his attention on. Now, He's a first principles thinker. That's one thing I like about him. He's a first principles thinker. Now, first principle thinking was made popular by Elon Musk. What is first principle thinking? First principle thinking is when you break things down into their smallest component. What is it that will not change? What is it that will not change? For example, yes, some people may be saying, oh, because of price and all that. He said, what will not change is people want successful financial transaction. That will not change. He said, number two, he said, because you are dealing with money, there will be issues here and there. People want to have the assurance and the peace of mind that if there is a problem, I can place a call to Moneypoint and my problem can be resolved. He said that will not change. He gave an analogy once that I thought was very, very powerful. He said, if a trader or a businessman have been hustling to get a customer, and he finally got that customer, and the customer now wants to pay for his product or service, and the customer pops in his or her card, and the payment didn't go through, you know that trader will be very, very upset. At that point, that trader is not thinking about whether Moneypoint is cheaper or more expensive than the competitor. He's not thinking about that. He says so. This is the reason why we obsess about the successfulness of a transaction. He said because when we get the successfulness of a transaction right, the product will create what is called a network effect. Network effect in technology, in tech sales, means that it is your customers that will now be marketing you to other people. You have built a community that way. Most of you are using Moneypoint right now. You didn't use Moneypoint because you saw their advert. No, you use Moneypoint because somebody told you about it. Or you use Moneypoint because you were passing and you saw it in a neighborhood where you went to visit. So it has network effect. The strength of a successful product is in the power of its network effect. What is network effect? Network effect basically means that the more people that uses a product, the stronger or the more relevant the product is. For example, you use a phone, right? I use a phone, right? My phone has no relevance or power unless you also have a phone. Your phone has no relevance or power unless your brother or your colleague has a phone. So this phone has what we call a network effect. Did you get that? Now, when your product has a network effect, just go and sleep. Just be making the product better. Your life will be better. So that is why he said that when you focus on that metric of making the product really, really, really good, it will have a network effect because when the product is good, people talk and they talk about the product everywhere. Speaking about communities, if you want to join my community, I now have a Telegram community where I drop sales tips every single day. I even drop funding opportunities for people to know where there's funding to fund their business. All right, we do a book review as well in the community. I bring in speakers to come and speak to people in the community. Click on the link in the show notes to join. It's a monthly subscription, but it will help you very, very, very well. We have people in the community that do over $50 million. Top people in the community, entrepreneurs from all over the world. So join the community. The link is in the show notes and join it. And lastly, as well, really, this thing I'm talking about here right now, I put it together in a PDF. Right? So this whole review is put together in a PDF. I also put my book as well, 15 Simple to Sell Anything to Anyone and Irresistible. So I reviewed over 22 books. I put all of them together in like a bundle. So you have 2 of my books, 2 of my past webinars that people pay $300 to attend the webinar. You will get all of those things for just $7. All right. If you click on the link on the show notes as well. So check out the link on the show. So let's continue. So what metric are you focusing on? What metric are you obsessing about? For Moneypoint is successful payments. Success in a payment transaction. What is yours? And I found out one thing. When you focus on the success, when they focus on the success of the payments, the other things just took care of themselves. Did you get that? So remember what he said? He said he spends 75% of his time. I don't know whether he still does that today, but at the start, he spent 75% of his time with his product team and his sales team. That speaks volume. Yeah, well, we have people who are not even as big as Moneypoint, the founders don't spend time with the sales team. The founder should be the first head of growth. The founder should be the first person to write the sales playbook for the company. Now, everywhere you turn, there's Moneypoint. They deal with enterprise, they deal with online, they deal with wide distribution. Nigeria is very, very big, and they have not even started yet. If there are 200 million people in Nigeria and they do 26 million transactions per day, then you can imagine the runway of this company. The runway of this company. No wonder they are $1 billion business today. This is very, very interesting. Let's talk about on execution. He said that he has a very, very strong bias for execution. And then he also has a very strong bias and focus on customer need. He said if you help a customer get what they want, they will also help you get exactly what it is that you want. Let's look at the 3 things that he says matters. Number 1 is reliability, 95% success rate in transaction. Number 2 is accessibility to customer service. You want support. And number 3 is price. There's something he said about price. He said price is not a great moat. You know what a moat is? A moat is, imagine a castle, right? There's a castle. And then there's a lot of water around that castle. And then there are crocodiles in that water. So your enemies cannot come and meet you there. That's a moat. In business, there are also moats. Coca-Cola is a moat. A business has a moat whereby you are so big, your competitors are going like, there's no point. They don't go, they've gone. So he said he optimizes obsessively over reliability. And if he does that, he will get exactly what it is that he wants. It was a great, process of studying the man. Then he said he's not a big reader, right? So every founder is different. But that the book that shaped his life the most is a book by Jack Welch. I don't have that book here, right? I read that book like a long time ago. Jack Welch used to be the CEO of GE, General Electric. I said that was a book that shaped his life. And really, if you look at it, Jack Welch is very big on execution. And Tosin is extremely, extremely big on execution. I don't know if he's going to see this episode, but hey, I just want to say kudos to you, sir, for the great work that you are doing. God bless you. And thank God that Sterling Bank rattled you. Because if Sterling 1Pay did not rattle you, we won't be studying you today. Again, the obstacle is the way. What you think is an impediment in your life is actually promoting you. Let your enemies push you and push you to the destiny that God has called you to be. If you enjoyed this episode, click on the subscribe button, share it, write a comment, and tell me what you think about this episode. I put a lot of my heart and love into this episode. I'm telling you, man, I researched the episode, right? I turned this notes here into an audio note and I listened to it all over. I read it over and over and over and over again because I really want to share these African stories and Nigerian stories so you can inspire each and every one of us that we can do big things from a small place. Tosin was not born into a rich family. He was born into a normal family in Ibadan. But today, he's a multi-billionaire because he chased his greatness. My name is Paul Fo. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on all social media platforms, and I'll see you next week for another great episode where we talk about another Nigerian or African founder. God bless you. I'll speak soon. Let's go.